Hello guys, we're Dave and Sue. This is MB Nature Trail Van. We are a motorhome channel and we do all sorts of stuff. We go UK, Europe, we've been Scotland this year, Europe this year. We're first year newbies, just past our first year.
Yeah.
We have lots and lots of good content. If you like the videos,
make sure you press like and subscribe and ring the bell for notifications and follow us on Instagram and Facebook for further content.
Thank you very much. This video is about how we got on in France and France and Germany and Austria and Europe and where we this video is about how we got on in Europe.
I think you've had too much wine.
How are you started?
Yeah.
Cheers.
We won't mention the beer.
So this video, this video is about how we got on in Europe.
Yeah.
It was great. It was absolutely memorable, wasn't it?
Yes.
But we did learn quite a lot, actually. So we made a list and we wanted to impart our, tips and tricks and some of our mistakes. So I'm blathering tonight. I'm so sorry.
I think generally we didn't really make that many mistakes, but we made a couple.
But we learned a lot.
We learned
even so.
Yeah. So shall we make a start?
Yeah. So we've got a list, and I'm going to keep referring to the notes, and Sue, you chip in as soon as I start blathering as usual. So what have we learned? Well, the first thing we put on here actually is don't overbook or overcommit to sites or a route, because in Europe it is so much more easy, we found, than in the UK for campsites, airs, Stellplatzes. There are places everywhere. We use search for sites, park for night.
I mean, we say don't, obviously it's up to
of course
you, but what we would recommend and what we would do differently is we wouldn't book up as much. We'd play it by ear, because sometimes you want to stay a bit longer in a place, or sometimes you want to change direction for whatever reason.
I mean, we swapped over twice, didn't we?
Yeah.
So we changed our plans twice. Once because there was a really bad storm and we wanted to try and get away from the problems that in Austria it was.
Yeah.
And we were going to go across to the German border, Fussen, but we just went up northwest of Munich to try and get away from the worst of the weather. The second time there was a medical emergency on the pitch 2 down from us, so we changed our pitch and we changed our booking because we were flexible, because that's the beauty of having a motorhome, I suppose, really, isn't it?
Because we were trying to potentially needed to help someone with something, so we thought we could stick around a bit longer. That's what we would do differently.
Definitely.
Just play it by ear and travel. Have a rough plan, but
general direction, and then look on. We use search for sites and park for night, but there's a Stellplatz app, there's Camper Contact app, and they're all really good.
Yeah, and everyone said it was easy, but you don't really believe it until you do it. But do believe it, because it is easy. There's always somewhere to stay. There's always somewhere around. In September anyway, when we went.
So that was our general first point, really. Just first, also we took a Revolut card, so we transfer to save ourselves fees, transaction fees, exchange rate fees. Revolut card saves you any fees. We pay a £3.90, I think it is, per month. But what we found with Revolut, probably the same with some of the other non-bank cards, is they weren't accepted everywhere.
No, it wasn't recognised everywhere. Some supermarkets, for example in France, had a €50 limit. Some places just didn't recognise it at all. We found when we got to Germany,
it was recognised
pretty much everywhere, and without any limit, as long as you've got the money.
But we went to a restaurant in France, not recognised. We went to a winery. We bought actually bought this wine.
It was this
wine. We bought this wine, and it wasn't recognised. So we had to go with either our own card or cash. We had quite a lot of cash. So that was the first thing that happened. So Revolut wasn't the perfect solution.
Or have a backup card if you go for a card like that.
Yeah.
And also carry cash.
Yeah. Next point was really in France, camping car park. Absolutely brilliant, really brilliant. You can't go wrong with the camping car park system. There are thousands of little sort of airs over throughout France. There's a couple in Germany and now a few in Spain, but it's mainly France, and it's mainly sort of the centre and the south of France. But there are camping car parks in the north of France. What you do is, I think it's €25 or €24. You get a card. So you get a camping car card, and you put on.
That's the minimum you put on, is it?
No, that's for the card. You use the card,
I
so
see,
it's almost like a membership
Yeah.
card. Then what you do is you put on. I think the minimum is €80 on the card, and what happens is then that €80 is reduced as and when you get to each campsite. So Sue puts a card on the keypad.
The top of the keypad. Yeah.
And then that debits your account. So I started
That's
off with.
If you're booked, you do that because it recognises your number plate and your card, or your card rather.
That's right. Yeah.
But you can arrive and pay.
Yeah.
When you get there.
And it would be the same thing because actually I had money on the card.
Yeah.
You can actually turn up, and pay there and then. But normally they want you to have a balance on your card to then reduce it. I think I started off with €80. I've come back with about 30.
Yeah.
And we're going again in about 10 weeks, so we'll be using them again. They're really, really good. And I think the maximum we paid for any one camping car park was €15.
Yeah.
And the minimum was about €12.
And if you've got any questions about that, ask us down below, because it's so, when I heard people talking about it, I didn't really understand, and so we're not quite sure which part you wouldn't understand if you don't understand. So just ask a question if necessary.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Yeah.
On top of that, I paid an extra, I think it was €20, to have what's called like a premium pass, which means you can book in advance. So what we said about not booking, actually a couple of these I did book because we weren't sure. So you can actually book in advance, which means that it's guaranteed you get a pitch. We went to a camping car park in northern Alsace, and it was full.
Yeah.
But the reason we got in was because we had booked in advance.
Yeah, so that's the downside there with the camping car parks.
I go through the app on all the different camping car parks in the area, and it tells you on the app how many pitches there are, how many pitches have got electric hookup. Normally it's 75% to 100%. But it also tells you how many on that as at that moment live are in or booked in to the camping car park, so you can see how many spaces there are.
Again, though, we went in September, and
loads of space.
July, August, they might get more booked.
Yeah, which is why it might be worth getting the booking.
But that's contradicting what we said.
It is.
But that's a chance that you take.
Perhaps
we haven't done it in August.
Maybe in peak season, maybe book, but we went in September.
But certainly in September, everywhere we went apart from that one.
Yeah.
There was space.
The other great thing with camping car park is there's if you turn up at a site and put your card on the top of the keypad to get yourself in, there are service points, motorhome service points, so you can fill up with water
for €5.
Yeah, get rid of your grey, get rid of your black for €5. You can stay in that camping car park till 5 p.m. in the evening. If you decide you don't want to stay and you want to move somewhere else, they'll debit you the €5 on entry, but they won't charge you anything else if you leave. Basically, if you want to stay, you can park up, pitch up, and then they'll charge you the nightly fee, after 5 o'clock.
So they'll know, because you have to use your card to go in and to go out.
So it's all automatic. You don't see anybody, you don't meet anybody. There's a number to phone if you get a problem. Most of the actual consoles have got little buttons for the intercom.
Yeah.
But there's never anybody there, so it really is a great system. Absolutely great. We absolutely loved it, didn't we? Really worth it. Tolls, the toll booths and the toll roads, we did use them in France, certainly on the way down, not on the way back. It was very easy, wasn't it? We didn't get a tag. We didn't buy a tag. Obviously, you can buy a tag. We didn't do that. We just turned up at a toll booth and paid on.
Perhaps you want to explain what a tag is?
You can go onto different websites and you can get a tag. So you basically drive straight through a toll booth. I mean, there are a few, which
it's number plate recognition.
Yeah, we didn't do it. We just, I'll be honest, I couldn't be bothered, and I always think, well, I'd rather go into a toll booth, take a ticket, and pay at the next one. And that's what happens. So you turn up, you take a ticket, you press the button, take a ticket, turn up at the next one, put your ticket in, and it says how much. You swipe your card, and off you go.
And generally speaking, if you haven't got a ticket, you're taking a ticket.
Yeah.
And if you have got a ticket, you put the ticket in and you're paying.
Yeah.
and you wave a card, and the Revolut worked on that.
Revolut was fine on the
You
tolls.
can use debit cards and you can use cash, but cards are much quicker, and you just wave them contactless to get through.
So there was one section we went on where we expected to take a ticket, but
because we didn't have one.
Actually, it was a set amount of road, which basically charged you to go onto that road. So you basically paid your money straight away, and then put your ticket in. So
if you haven't got a ticket and you arrive at one and it's not giving you a ticket, it wants you to pay in advance.
Yeah, that's right. But we only found one of those.
But you can see there was something on the top that sort of indicated, I think, whether you were paying, like there were cards and cash signs.
That's right. Yeah.
Or whether it was just take a ticket, wasn't it?
One of our friends on social media, Facebook, said what you can do is when you turn up a toll booth, if you press the button, they have an operative.
This is in France.
In France, in France, with French, the French autoroutes, So you basically press the button, and an operative comes on, and you say camping car, then they will charge you the appropriate rate for a camping car, because sometimes you can get charged the lorry rate, being an additional height. There is the sensors will say you're a lorry, so you might get charged at a lorry rate. We didn't actually try that because we didn't know until afterwards.
No, we didn't know.
So next time we're going to do that and see what happens.
Yeah.
But it looks like it's good. That should save you some potential money.
And that's where the Revolut card, if you use that, you don't get the transaction fees.
Yeah. Okay. So now we move into Stellplatzes. A lot of them are not free. They do charge a bit. Some of them are quite expensive. Some of them are very cheap. But what we found is on Stellplatz is certainly any other places in Germany as well, even shops, cash is king. You don't certainly they don't really accept cards on the Stellplatz payments. We even went to a shop in Germany where they only that cake shop, chocolate shop.
Oh yeah, some shops prefer
cash.
I don't know if it's because when they know you're British, they don't
maybe.
like the foreign cards. Maybe I don't know.
But certainly,
I'm not sure.
Certainly Stellplatzes, we on every single one we found that we did try and put a card in on one and it didn't accept it.
No, even the cards were.
Not even our own. And forget Revolut. We tried to put our bank card.
We tried everything.
Yeah.
Because at that time we wanted to use a card, really.
Brings us on to our main point, which is take cash. Take a fair bit of cash to Germany, or get cash out as you travel down it.
No, but have your euros, because euro coins, one euro coins are. I would have a good supply of those. Yeah. I took 40 euros in €1.
Yeah.
And that wasn't enough for the whole trip, was it?
No.
I ended up going to a bank and having to exchange a €20 note for 20 more euros to make sure I had enough.
Yeah, because you'll find that for example, you go to a Stellplatz and the Stellplatz payment machine will only take €1. It won't take twos. So it's really frustrating. It will take ones
or the water or something like that.
Yeah, and that's the next point to come on to. You will pay some Stellplatzes. You're paying a set fee, and that's it.
And most of them, included,
most of them, you're paying for electric on top, or water on top, and even in some cases, black waste disposal. I mean, it's quite, but it's all €1 or 50 cents, or very very few of them seem to take €2 coins.
And the public like restrooms,
loos,
they tend to be 50 cents pieces. So have a supply of them as well. Was what we found. Didn't we? We needed a few.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. The other thing to say was just be careful on Stellplatzes. That I'm an idiot, but I paid for somebody else's electric. There was 3 different pay stations, and I paid for one. The number of the electric hookup point I was in, I paid for it, but it was someone else, because they had 3 with all numbered 1 to 7 rather than 1 to 21. So just be very careful.
And there
suss
are
it out
different
before.
parts of the Stellplatz.
Yeah.
And so that was in a central part, and you thought it was for the whole site, and it wasn't.
So just suss out before you put your money in. Just suss out and be sure that you're putting money in the right place. Most of them are pretty simple, and obviously I'm really simple, so I failed. But that was the situation on that one. All the pay stations on Stellplatzes are completely different. Every single one we found was different, and but the good news is that it's all of them. I think we went to had an English translation, so it's pretty straightforward when you got to them to see how they worked. The electric hookup's slightly different. There was every single one had a different electric hookup. Like we went one at Landsberg, there was one electric hookup point for 8 vans, and you had to just turn the knob round to your number that you'd put your electric hookup in, then you put the money in. If you hadn't done that, put the money in, it was on the wrong one, you'd be paying someone else.
Yeah.
So those sort of things, just be careful of. Stellplatzes were great. We found some absolutely fantastic Stellplatzes. Some of them have websites, so you can check before you go what you're looking at and what they charge. And how they operate in terms of do you play electric? It's not particularly complicated, but they're all different.
I think you're making it sound complicated.
I don't mean to say. Well, someone like me, I just found a couple of them a bit complicated.
They're just all can be slightly.
But the
different.
great thing is, you always find somebody who will help.
Yeah.
In Germany, it was so fantastic. I got completely confused on one site, and a lady it was her first time in a motorhome. And she said, "Oh no, I think you do this and not that." And it was like, "Oh, okay, great." And
people tend to help you.
So friendly, yeah, absolutely. Oh, pitches, yeah. Don't expect to have 4 meters distance when you go to Germany or France, really. That you will get people parked right next to you, literally, very, very close, because that's the way it is. And there's some places there's no marked out pitches. Most there are, but some there aren't. So just be aware.
The only etiquette that we could really that they stuck to was not having your door facing a door.
Yeah, that's right.
So don't park.
It didn't
with
always
your door.
work like that. People didn't adhere to
If
it,
you
but
can't,
most of the time.
But, mostly that's not the done thing.
No, that's right. Oh gosh, yeah, SIM card. We obviously, being on YouTube, we do a lot of uploading and we use our van Wi-Fi. And we arrived in France with my phone having a roaming pass for 2 weeks, but the maximum usage was 25 gigabyte. 25 gigabyte is not enough for the usage that I needed. The Wi-Fi SIM, which is in the UK is unlimited, is only 25 gigabyte in Europe. So what we tried to do straight away was go and get a data SIM. And we've sort of failed a couple of times, but we ended up getting one in Ulm in Germany, which was brilliant. Quite a complicated system because in Germany they want to know who's got SIM, so you had a home address and all the rest of it. But we got it, and the SIM I got in Germany was for 999 gigabyte for 60 quid, about 72 euros or 75 euros. So that was fantastic. So we used that all the way through our trip. Plus, when we came across back into the UK for a few days. So yeah, just get yourself a data SIM if you need data more than 25 gigabytes. But be very careful, because the UK suppliers will really, really stitch you up and fleece you if you go above 25 gigabytes. I think Vodafone, which is what we use, wanted to charge £3.35 per gig for every gig we used over and above our 25, which is a hell of a lot. So was it £3.30? No, yeah, it was a £2.50 a day, and then £3.35 a gig over the top. So yeah, really expensive. So advise you, if you've got big data usage, make sure that's what you do on that one. When you get to campsites, hose attachments, I found so many different taps on everywhere we went. Camping car park's great because they're all the same. They're all the same, and they all have a hose point which is exactly the same. But some of them are really weird. We bought one which is just got a hose clip on it, so you can attach it to most of them and then clip the hose on. So that was good. So that's one thing to make sure. Even more than the UK, I thought I had enough, but some of the ones I've never used in the UK, I did use in Europe. Before we went, some people were saying, "Oh yeah, I've never used a 2-pin plug on any campsite we've been on." Well, we used 2, so we went on 17 campsites and we used it twice. So the 2-pin plug adapter was very, very important. And then there was one campsite in northern France where there was reverse polarity, and you can switch it on your electric hookup lead by taking it apart and switching the neutral and positive over. But we bought an adapter from Tough Lee's company. That was really, really worthwhile, because that one campsite, all we did was that had a 2-pin plug and it was reverse polarity, so it was both. So we put it, but it was fine. We worked, so it was good. Sundays in Europe, most places close on a Sunday. You would get restaurants open in the evening. You won't even get a boulangerie open on a Sunday.
In the bigger places, cafes are open, but no shops. No. And in fact, in Germany, generally, the opening times of some of the shops is rather... It's not even... Like, a lot of them will close from 12 till 2.
12 till 2. Most,
just as a regular thing on a weekday.
Yeah.
But sometimes a shop will just be closed on a Tuesday.
It's very strange, It
It's
was
not
strange.
obvious why, and it wouldn't be the type of shop that would be closed in the UK. Not that our shops are ever closed, but nowadays. But
what about boulangeries?
They were open.
Did you have them on a Sunday morning? They were open on a Sunday morning.
They were in France.
Not so much stuff in Germany, but again, it's just to be aware. At lunchtimes, we went to try and get a SIM card, for example, and we just about missed the 12 o'clock, and it was closed till 2:30.
And we had to move on, so
we didn't have time, so we had to go. Fuel costs. I thought fuel costs were a lot cheaper in Europe, but when I came back here, fuel costs had reduced dramatically. So I'm not sure they are. Probably pretty similar.
Like at home, avoid filling up on the motorway because it's so expensive.
25 to 30% more expensive. Just
like it would be at home.
Oh, washing machines.
Oh yeah.
On campsites.
I got caught out a couple of times because, well, obviously I've been doing this a year, and at home I've not been to one. There probably are some that you need I did go to one actually that needed tokens. But sometimes you put euros in, and sometimes you put tokens in. So you can be loading up ready to go, and then you realise you're not putting a coin in, you need a token, and you've got to go all the way back to reception, and your washing's all ready to go, which might seem minor, but it can be that you look like you're blocking a machine, or someone wants the machine and you've either got to get all your clothes out, and it can be a bit of a pain, and they don't point it out to you. So if you're going somewhere doing your washing, ask when you arrive if you need tokens for the machines.
One of the things we got completely confused about, we've got a motorhome Florrie is over 3.5 tons, and we got into Austria and thought we needed what was called a Go Box, which is the motorway toll charge. What we realised very quickly was that only if you go on a motorway do you need a motorway toll charge. Although we went to about 3 garages trying to find one, on the basis that we thought we would end up going on a motorway. So
also, we were under the impression that you could get these things virtually anywhere.
Yeah, and you can't.
You can only get them, I think, on motorway.
On motorway services, either in or out of Austria. Vignettes, we don't know because we didn't try and get a vignette. You can probably get them online, but you'd have to do your own research on that for motorways.
And we ended up not going on the motorway.
We were out on the motorway for the last probably 3 miles coming out of Austria into Germany. But by that time, it was we actually said we were going to this garage and get a go, but it went straight across the border, so we never did get one.
No, hopefully that was all right.
Yeah, most sites, campsites, and camping car parks and Stellplatzes have got a motorhome service point, so you don't need to have any worries really with that. I don't think I found one that didn't. Even some of the small camps did they have? No, the little one at the end didn't have one. The one with the 2-pin plug and stuff. We
couldn't find it anyway.
No, I don't think it did.
And there wasn't anyone to ask at the time.
There wasn't. No. But 99%. Had motorhome service points to fill your water and do your grey and black waste. So and camping car parks are all absolutely standard, aren't they? They're all the same. They all look the same, and it's very easy. You were going to talk about, like, we went to a campsite in Austria where you pay your campsite fee, your pitch fee, but it was a completely luxurious site.
Yeah, what was it called?
Revolut.
Yeah, and very 5-star place, 5-star facilities, spa, gym, swimming pool, beautiful pools, not just swimming pools, beautiful, weren't they? Mountain views, but when you look at the brochures and when you look at the website, it's not very clear that it's not all included, and it's quite expensive. On that particular
what did it cost
site.
On the pool, for example? Was it 10 euros a person per day?
To remember.
I thought it was 10 euros per day.
It was 10 euros per day if you committed to the week.
Per person.
So 120 euros for us two.
Yeah.
If you went in by the day, it was double that a day, I believe, about 20 euros each. So, you'd only, well, not many people would want to pay that too.
I mean, I suppose what we're saying is that we went to visit. We went to that campsite with family.
Yeah.
And it was a fantastic campsite. But what all the blurb on the website doesn't tell you.
Or if it does, it must be in very small print because we didn't realise.
Yeah, if you want to use the facilities, you're paying a lot of money to get the swimming pool and the gym.
Not like the showers, but...
Oh, no. That was all included in your pitch price and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, then they were to a high standard.
But even then, the electricity hookup price was the most expensive of all the ones we went on in terms of per unit, you know. So so you just be aware of what
when you're booking a site like that looks like it's got everything, just double check what's actually included, because it might turn out to be rather expensive.
There was only two other things we were going to talk about, and one was weird. Oh no, there's three actually. One was in Germany. There didn't appear to be on many places anywhere for plastic bottles or plastic waste.
I mean, if you've been to Europe, let us know what your experience has been. But certainly, you know how we in the UK we recycle plastic bottles and anything plastic
and separate it from cardboard and paper.
Yeah, there didn't seem to be that in a lot of places, which surprised me.
Yeah,
a couple it seemed had plastic recycling.
Yeah,
but mostly it was just paper and card and glass.
Yeah.
And the rest went into general waste, which seemed like a sin. You know?
Yeah, sin. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And the second thing, that again was Germany and Austria, was our daughter had a reaction to nuts in Austria.
She's got a nut allergy.
Yeah.
I don't think she'll mind us sharing that. And
in France, there seemed to be a general awareness of allergies in the food that they serve
more than there used to be, I think.
Yeah. But in Germany and Austria, it was weird. It was because obviously with the cakes and things like that, and apple strudel and all that stuff, it's it can be very nutty. But there didn't seem to be anything on a menu that said.
No, and also in this particular case, my daughter had the same dessert at the same restaurant 2 different days apart, and wasn't it 2 or 3 days apart? And she checked the first time she had it whether it had nuts in, and they went to check and it didn't, and then she ordered the same thing at the same restaurant
without
a few days later, without thinking that she needed to check,
same menu,
because she thought she's had it already. Whether it's some kind of cross-contamination, we're not sure. But anyway, she was quite poorly.
But she was poorly, and spent a night in hospital. However, the general thing is, if you've got anybody in the party that's allergic, just be double sure.
And check all the time, because that was an experience that we learned.
In the UK, you go to a restaurant and say, nut allergy, blah blah blah, and they'll say no, that hasn't, no, or even the menus will show.
A lot of places will say any allergies when you go in now.
But Germany and Austria, we just didn't find that really. And the final thing we had, well, apart from to say we had an amazing time, was the shuttle was absolutely fine on the way out. We turned up well over an hour before. We got on a slightly earlier train than we booked, which is brilliant. In France, we came back. We were an hour and 20 minutes earlier than we were planned. They put us on a slightly earlier train.
Well, said they were going to.
Said they were going to.
They offered us an earlier train.
But the time it took to get from turning up at the terminal to getting on the train was about an hour and 45 minutes. It was really quite interminable. It was just you were in a queue all the time. And
I think we've done it in a car before, and it was slower with a motorhome.
It was slow because
there were a lot of
searching.
motorhomes, and they were going. They wanted to, for a large percentage of the motorhomes, they were stopping, and 2 guys were coming in to make sure you hadn't got any stowaways.
French passport control was relatively quick, but as soon as you got to UK passport control, it really slowed down in it, and there was a much bigger queue. And even when you got through that passport control, they were directing some people to get searched, and it wasn't
a search as such. It wasn't like pulling everything out of the van and that type of search, but they were coming in to check that there was no one in here. That was what the purpose.
So I suppose what we're saying is, on the way back, if you've got time constraints in the UK, then you need to get to the shuttle probably at least you know, 2 hours beforehand to guarantee you're going to get on the train, unless maybe it was a bad day, but gosh, it took a long time.
Well, I think
we actually said, you know, maybe the ferry's quicker than this, because actually then you can get out.
Well,
and wander
yes,
about.
we're going to Spain. Well, via France.
So basically, it just took a long time. So be aware of that.
We did say because of that experience, we thought we'd try the ferry next time, but we can't because it's booked up.
That's right.
But,
and finally, just to say, what did we learn? Well, we didn't learn that we loved Alsace, because we knew we loved Alsace. Been there before with a car, and it was just fantastic, wasn't it? Absolutely gorgeous. What really surprised me, I think, was Germany. We drove into Germany the first night, and we were a bit nervous. We'd had a bad experience at a service station with prices, and then we got absolutely fleeced with
someone wasn't very polite to us, and we felt like a bit far from home.
But but then
a
guy started talking to us, absolutely wonderful German chap, and it was just so from then on. Germany was just an absolute delight. We stayed in some fantastic Stellplatzes. We visited some fantastic, beautiful places. Bavaria was wonderful. Really loved Bavaria, and the Black Forest was just fantastic. We had 5 nights there, didn't we?
Because we went through areas where we didn't see another British person for several days, which was unusual. You know,
in France there was a few Brits around. But in
not
Germany,
that matters, but it's just. You know, I thought it was unusual not to see more British people. I think that was around the Black Forest area. Probably more.
And Bavaria as well. There was very few Brits in Bavaria. You know. So it was just, but it was a real surprise. I wasn't expecting. Germany was almost going to be somewhere we were going through to get to Austria and then back to France. But it ended up we spent longer than we said we were going to do in Germany. Because we so enjoyed it. It was just wonderful. And we have not got a word of German. I mean, I probably know Bitter and Dankeschön, and that's about it. Literally, that's about it. Everybody spoke good English. Everything is in dual language. You know, you've got no problems at all.
We felt a little bit inadequate, didn't we?
I always felt guilty about not even trying, but because we couldn't. But what a fantastic country it is, and it's very, very different. You know, Bavaria is totally different to the Black Forest, and the Black Forest is very different to the area around the Romantic Road. So it's really, really different, and a lot of different states within one country. But fantastic. Anyway, that's it. So hopefully there's some tips on there which will be useful. Leave us some questions, or leave us in the comments below if you've got any comments or any questions. We're going to finish our Alsace wine, and hopefully you enjoyed it. So if you like the video, hit the subscribe button. Please comment, give us a comment, give us a like.
Ask us questions, give us advice if you've done any of these things and you know a better way of doing it. And
if there's stuff that we haven't thought about or we got wrong, please tell us, because we're going again in about 10 weeks time. So but thanks for watching, guys, and very, very interesting it was, and a memorable trip for our first one ever.
Really good.
Thanks very much, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Bye.